Greetings and salutations, friends. I am Jeremy Tank, and you are in the Manifest Design Experience. We are going over today the exercises from week 8, and these are primarily competitive analysis. This is you looking at other people that do things the same things as you, different than you, similar to you, just trying to get the lay of the field and figure out what else is out there. So the exercises we're going to go over today are capture the field, view from an airplane, hot potato, the opportunity matrix, and assess your business model. Now, those are so powerful. Like that's just getting the lay of the land. And actually, I have my cute little map. See, my cute little map. We spent all of this time talking about your brand, talking about the thing that you're building. Maybe that's your business. Maybe that's your personal brand that you're working on. Maybe you're a consultant or a coach or a contractor. And it's really about finding this point up here. This is you. This is what you're trying to be, what you're trying to become. This is really being very creative about the future, looking into not just like 6 months, a year, 3 years. We're just looking out there saying, you know, where's the place that we want to go with this? What is the steps that we want to take? And then along that, this is that path. This entire journey is the path that you are mapping out for yourself through these exercises that you and I are doing together. Now, you are focusing on your brand, which can be a product brand, a business brand, maybe it's your company brand, maybe it's your personal brand. I'm working on an idea brand, which is just sort of a concept, an idea that I'm fleshing out to see where it goes, to see, you know, first as an example for you, second, just to see where it goes. And the thing about the competitive analysis, and the thing about what we're doing this week in particular, is that this path looks super easy and super clear. And this is the way that we all sort of see things when we're looking into the future and trying to plot it out. But the problem is that, like, there's, I don't know, a big pile of poo right in here. There's a rock. Hard to tell what a rock is. There's a rock over here. There's like a river through the middle of your plan right here. And maybe over here there's, I don't know, something on fire, because fires always seem to distract us. So there's a whole bunch of places where, even though this plan, this step, this process looks nice and simple and easy, things can get in the way, things can distract us, things can find a way of just getting in the way, of slowing us down, right? So what we're doing right now, this entire competitive analysis, these exercises really are designed to help you see what this might look like in the future. And we know that that's going to change because nothing ever stays the same. The point of being here and living this life is that things constantly change. But as we constantly change, if we know where we are and we know where we want to go, right, then all we have to do, how about we make a bridge? We just jump across. This is our little bridge. Jump across and then avoid the fire and get right to the spot. And this is what life ends up doing, right? We end up doing this automatically as we see things pop up. We move around it, we move through it, we find ways to build a bridge over it, and we continue forward. That's what we do as humans. That's what our brain helps us do, is to see these obstacles. The problem is that when we hit the obstacles, it's hard for us to see what the next step can be. And if we can just look at our competitive field, if we can look at other people that are doing all the stuff that's similar, all the stuff that's different, then we can actually kind of map out some of this for ourselves. And when these happen in real life, if they happen, we can simply sidestep and avoid and take the path that we want to choose, that is most beneficial to our business, that is most beneficial to our future, that is most beneficial to our bottom line, our pockets, right? Our friends, our brand, everything that we are building. We can actually choose the path that is most beneficial to us. But to do that, first we have to get a lay of the land. First we have to understand who else is out there and what the competition looks like. So, exercise 1 is, and here's, I say this every time, I'm going to say it again. I'm pulling out my brand book. It's getting pretty thick now of all the sheets of paper that I'm adding to it, all the exercises that I'm going through with you, all of the things I'm picking up, all the things I'm sharing with you. And if you haven't paid attention before, if you haven't heard me say it before, this is a record of how we make brand decisions. Oftentimes, CEOs, even at big corporations, just sort of go with their gut. They go with some data, and they don't really have a record of how they make brand decisions. So, and I write that right on the front page, right? You can barely see it. This is a record of how we make brand decisions. I will share that every single time because it is important to know how we made these decisions. And like I said, too often that doesn't end up going that way. So the first exercise, and yes, today I'm going to be speaking very quickly. I've already pre-done most of these exercises so that this will be a shorter video, a more direct video. But the thing is that the competitive analysis is the thing you do not want to skimp on. You do not want to shortchange. You want to do as much research as possible into this to avoid all of those pitfalls later on. The more that you research and find out and maybe even experience some of your competition yourself, the more that you will actually find it beneficial as you really locate the areas. Remember, the brain loves contrast, right? So when we experience our competition, when we do the research into it, we really examine it deeply, particularly a bunch of them. What we can do is start to see what people did really well and what they did not so well. And by doing that, we can choose to lift up the same stuff that they did well and maybe even improve upon it, and then definitely improve upon the stuff that they did not do so well. So the first one is capture the field. And in capture the field, what I've asked you to do, there are 4 different sections in this. And what I've asked you to do is to go ahead and capture 5 website homepages. And I call my technique capturing above the fold, because all I really want you to focus on is what you see right off the bat as you land on the page. What does it tell you about the look and feel? What can you tell as far as the information? And it gets hard to actually capture an entire website. There's apps for it, so if that's something you want to do, it's really beneficial. Advertising agencies, branding agencies, marketing agencies will capture entire websites, every single page, even if it's 5 pages or 100 pages, so that they can comb through all of that data, all of the stuff that they've captured, to really capitalize on their knowledge investment. Now, I'm just asking you here to capture the first page, and I've given you some tips on how to do screen captures in the exercise itself. It's right here in this box, both Windows and Macintosh computers, so you can really get in and do that. So the first 5 websites I want you to select are direct competitors. The second 5 are indirect competitors. The third 5 are inspirational. And by that, it doesn't have to be someone in your market. It doesn't have to be a competitor to you. But you know what? I went ahead and selected competitors because I find that more in line. If I find competitors that are truly inspirational to me, I'm going to want to copy them. I'm going to want to take advantage of the things that they are doing and capitalize on that to benefit me and my brand and everything that I'm building. And I really recommend that for you as well. And the last 5 are websites you do not like. Specifically, do not like. I want you to look at them. I want you to find them. If they are competitors of yours, great. That way you can identify what are they doing or not doing that is successful. So, just to show you what that looks like from my perspective, I went ahead and printed out, and I've got notes on every single one of these. You can kind of see down here my notes. I went ahead and flagged the ones that were important to me, but I've got 26 different health resorts, websites, global resorts, health places, you name it, weight loss, fitness resorts, and I just went ahead and hole punched them and stuck them all right in here, because the more that I can capture that information and have it in the place where I'm making the brand decisions, the more, I don't know, I can just stay up to date with what's going on, and I can add to this later. That's the best part about these kind of books. You can add to it later. You can you could do more analysis, but you know what? We don't need to get stuck in analysis paralysis. We don't need to find everything out there. What we need to find is the trends, what's working for people, what's not working for people, the places that are highly rated by travel magazines. Usually say it, especially for the things I'm working on, usually say it right on the homepage, like really heavily advised, advertised, I mean. So yeah, I've got so many of these in here. So I'm going to go ahead and just dive right into the capture the field exercise with you. And I chose 2 competitors to share with you for each of the exercises in this, just so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm looking for personally. Now, in the exercise, I say, talk about the website, talk about what you see and what you feel when you're in there. I do that. I do that a little bit, but what I am actually comparing, because my brand that I'm doing is this castle properties, this health retreat that's very holistic and integrative. So a lot of what I'm looking for is, what is everybody else doing along those realms? What are they doing that is different? What are they doing that's exciting? So the direct competitors that I looked at, we'll go ahead and, there we go. I love this. The first is Ananda actually. And what I really appreciated about their entire setup is that they have private healthcare providers. So they actually have people on staff who are healthcare providers. They have integrated medicine course. They have integrated medicine. That's a primary of their focus. And they have courses that they offer, both online and local. And I really like the idea of courses. That was something I hadn't actually considered, but I really dig that now. Another direct competitor, We Care Spa. I really liked what We Care is doing. I really like, present tense, what We Care is doing. It is a large open space in the Sonoran Desert. They have 20 acres of land, so you can tell that it's really an escape. It's really a retreat. It's someplace that they give you space to be. They also only have 20 suites. So it's small, which means that it's a very premium luxury item, that the things that they are doing, which are mental and physical well-being, are really tailored to luxury experiences, really tailored to transformative experiences. They haven't gone all out in like a multi-hundred room suite sort of deal. The indirect competitors that I'm sharing on here, one is Samayamu. Samayamu, I chose specifically because they are located here in Washington State. That's where I am. I am just outside of Seattle. And I was curious who else is doing sort of this health retreat, spa sort of thing. They are a fitness spa, though. So they are very much about movement and exercises. Yoga is definitely part of it. And then the spa treatment. But there's not a lot more going on in the health, either mental or physical. And the other thing I really liked is they have a very easy website to navigate. It's good. It's easy to look at. It's easy to read. And all of them have a very similar feel right now. The whole field of this resort websites, it follows a pattern. They have a big picture right up front. They have a bar or a box that basically you can make your reservation or look at packages. They're all pretty much the same, which is fantastic from my point of view, because there is opportunity to do something that stands out, that is dynamic, so that when people visit that website, my website, it is different than all of the others. The last one for the indirect competitors is Pritikin. I can't even pronounce this. And this is both of these, and Ananda. Some of the challenge is that if you have a name that is not easy to pronounce, you need to have a way to tell people how to pronounce it. So I know I'm probably mispronouncing Pritikin, but that's okay. Mental and physical well-being. So here's the first one that I've really seen. Ananda does some integrated medicine, but this is specifically stating mental and physical well-being, and I love that. They also have private physicians, and that's an idea that I dig, that I think I've talked about on here in some of our previous exercises, the idea of having different types of practitioners, different types of physicians on hand to be able to help with the things that we're doing. They also have all-inclusive packages, so you buy one package and that's what it looks like for food, for the courses, for everything that you do at Pritikin. Websites that inspired me, my competitors that inspired me. Sensei. Sensei is well-being focused, meaning that it's not just physical, it's not just mental, it is all well-being. It is really helping you retreat and get away, think about things, calm yourself down, de-stress, detoxify, de-anxiety, like that. I really enjoy that sort of concept because that's something I sort of wrap myself around. They have evidence-based programs, which is something in Western medicine that we really, that's what we look for. We want to see that there is data from previous studies, from previous work, showing that the work is effective. And I love that Sensei is actually using evidence-based programs. And then they sell both packages and experiences. And I love that idea, because a package could be something that you're going to go there and it's so many days and it includes food or includes whatever else. But experiences, when you say, look, I want to have this experience, boy, that's something else entirely. It's not just going there and doing a thing. It's what do you want to experience? And that could be like riding a bike, hiking, going to waterfalls, helicopter rides, like all sorts of different things. And the last one here for Inspire is Casali di Casole, which is in Italy. And what I love about this is they have 4,200 acres. This is a huge piece of property with lots of different houses, lots of different residences on it. It is the pure Tuscany lifestyle. And that's really how they talk about it. Living in Tuscany, experiencing Tuscany. It's fantastic. And the thing that inspires me about them, that I'm actually thinking about more for myself on this particular project, is that you can own or private or become part of their private residence club, meaning you can pay some and then come and go on their different residence properties. I love that you can buy a piece of it so that you can go and stay and be part of that experience, and that's your piece of that experience, for as long as you remain invested in that. I really dig that. The dislikes, let's see. The dislikes, I found PFC, which is just outside of it's in Southern California. It is very city-like. You go there and then you are trapped in sort of like this giant, expansive fitness city, and it is very much exercise, weight loss focused, and that's great. That's not my thing. That's and I just put it under dislike because it's not my thing. It's not what I'm gearing towards. But I wanted to see, it came up as an indirect competitor, so okay. And the whole website feels really sporty, and I didn't feel like that was me. I didn't really care for it, but that's okay, right? I'm just looking and judging. This is all from my perspective, things I like, things I don't like. And you do this for yourself. When you're choosing your 5 websites that you dislike, things you don't like about it, choose whatever feels right to you to say. And the last one, Sivananda, is a yoga focus retreat. I really liked it. It had bold colors, bold, bright orange and blues going on. But they had this 3-column website, and if you're looking at a website, most modern websites these days are 1 column or 2 columns, so that when you look at it on your phone, it actually resets and scales appropriately, and you still get the same information. But on a 3-column website, that's much more difficult from a reading perspective. As you go down, your eyes tend to go back and forth and kind of skip over a lot because there's so much information in each different column. And I didn't like that about this. So that's just a brief rundown of Capture the Field, because I've only done 2 examples for each of these, and I'm asking you to do 5. And I actually did 5. I wrote all those notes before, so I've got 5. I'm working from 5 myself, and I'm just sharing with some of my ideas with you so you understand the steps in this process. So let's go ahead and jump on to the next one, View from an Airplane. And the first question in View from an Airplane is, who else is out there? Well, we just looked at a whole bunch of samples, a whole bunch of websites. So go ahead and, it's very easy. You don't have to choose those websites, but why not? You've got the competition right there in front of you. You're looking at it and analyzing it already. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in. My 4 that I selected was Ananda, Pritikin, Kamalea, and Kinsterna. Kinsterna. Love Kinsterna. And so what do they do well? That's the first question. What do they do well? Well, Ananda is a #1 destination spa in the Himalayas. In the Himalayas, right? Why not go to the Himalayas? #1 destination spa, and that was like Condé Nast citing them. And they had that real big on their website, which means they've got a lot of brand support. They have a lot of trust in their customers, from their customers, and they are just doing their thing, which is awesome. They are private. They have private healthcare providers, meaning they have people on staff helping individuals plan their health journey, where they want to go, what their health goals are. I love that. Integrated medicine, holistic, meaning it's not just Western, not just Eastern. In fact, what they do is they focus on Ayurveda, yoga, mindfulness, and then cuisine. So really healthy food going in. But a lot of this is also balancing the self. Ayurvedic medicine is very much from India. It's holistic body and mind, treating it with herbs and oils and other things. It's fantastic stuff. And then they have online courses, which I absolutely love. I really wanted to mention that's something they do really well. Pritikin is a health resort, specifically health resort, meaning that they have 1 and 2 week programs that are there to help you become more fit, lose weight. That's really the focus around their stuff. They are in Hawaii, so they are more local than everybody else. They are using evidence-based treatments, meaning they have enough data behind them. They've been doing this for long enough. They have pulled from research from other providers, other sources, that they are doing something that is working, and they show that it's working through their evidence, through their case studies, through their data. They are all inclusive, which I like. So the customer pays one price, and then they go ahead and they have the experience. They also have private physicians. So like the private healthcare providers, they have private physicians that stay there, because as people are losing weight, as people are doing these exercises, as people are doing everything that they need to as part of the 1 and 2 week programs, they need to have some supervision to make sure they are on the right path and not damaging themselves. Brilliant. Kamalea is a holistic health provider. They have 10 different programs, 10 different health programs, everything from sleep better to be more mindful and calm, to a yoga program. They have lots of different stuff. It's really neat. They have Eastern and Western programs, which is great because that's kind of what I want to do, right? It's this combination of things. And I love that they are already sort of doing it. They have luxury suites. They don't have a ton of them. I think it's like 28 or 30 luxury suites. So it's a pretty small property, but it's in Koh Samui, Thailand. So it's a tropical atmosphere. It's near the beach. It's gorgeous. And last, they have a podcast, a book, and a blog with videos. So they are very active in helping educate people, treat people, talk to people about all the stuff they're providing. And that is fantastic, because that's just more stuff that you can buy, more stuff that can get your name out into the world. I love it. And Kinsterna has seasonal packages. So they have like, well, I should mention, they're like in the Greek islands, Peloponnese. And so they have things like olive season, grape season, picking seasons. It's that sort of thing. The whole place is a Byzantine era mansion that's been remodeled, reset, and provided as a property, a resort to get away. They got yoga classes and of course the spa. They do food to table, which I really love that idea. And I know I've talked about that before for my concept here, having a garden, having something so that the food can come right out of the garden, right into the cuisine, super healthy that way. And they actually have vegetable gardens and fruit orchards, which I love. What's a fantastic combination to really get all the health and all the opportunities in for people. So that's what my competition is doing. That's where I think they are doing really good job. That if I can duplicate some of those efforts, if I can use some of those ideas, that will only benefit my brand in the long run. So the next question in View from an Airplane is, what are they maybe not doing so well? Where am I doing better? Where am I different? Where is the idea that I am working on accelerating past them, right? So first of all, what I'm looking at is in the United States. So considering COVID is still raging around the world right now, travel is difficult, sometimes impossible depending on where you are. So with that in mind, this is actually part of the local and global trends, right? That's COVID is local and global. Means people are staying closer, they're doing less travel, and they kind of, I hate to say it, but people right now want to escape the news cycles. So if I could provide them someplace close that has some of these services and is a way that they can get away and escape some of the news cycle and craziness of the world, it really helps refresh, detoxify, clean out the dopamine and cortisol, stress hormones, right? That's what we need, is a place to do that. So again, Ananda, Pritikin, Kamalea, and Kinsterna, all of these none of them are doing the Chinese medicine thing. And my wife is a Chinese medicine doctor, an acupuncturist. And so looking at this from a Chinese medicine angle, that's something I've wanted to integrate into this concept right from the get-go. And none of these others are really doing it. Kamalea has some Eastern stuff, but that's in Thailand, and it's a lot of Thai massage and Thai healing. So I want to integrate, and the Chinese medicine, to be specific, is acupuncture and herbs, Tai Chi, Qigong, and a type of meditation, which, you know, it's sort of Qigong meditation, but also other types of meditation and mindfulness. And that's really, I've got that over all of these. Ananda, they're not really doing food to fork, and I think that garden to table idea is fantastic, so that's something I can work on over them. Again, I'm US based compared to something they're doing. Pritikin, again, they're not doing, they have got great cuisine. They're in, I think they're in Maui, so they've got great cuisine there. They make it there, they serve it there, but they don't grow it there, and that's something I think that we can actually improve over that and be a huge pull, a huge draw for this castle properties. Mainland US based, so we don't have to go to Hawaii. And they are not, they are very body focused. And what I want really for the coach, for the people that are going there, for the teachers, for the students, I really want to create a place that has a holistic mind-body thing. And Pritikin is not that I can see. You know, when it's, I'm sure when they're hosting parties or other things, they can have smaller stuff, but they're, in general, they are very much health body focused. Okay, Kamalea, again, Chinese medicine, food to fork, you know, garden to table. They don't do private healthcare providers, which I think that is really integral, having somebody on site that is helping you with, you know, your body challenge, your health challenge, overseeing you, guiding you. I think that that's really important. And then US based. Kinsterna, Chinese medicine, integrated health, holistic healthcare. Kinsterna in particular is mostly a spa and a getaway. It's not anything to do with health, anything to do with any of that stuff. So private healthcare providers, teaching spaces, US based, mindfulness based, you know, all that stuff I've got over them as we kind of develop this idea. And then the local and global trends to keep. Integrated medicine is more acknowledged right now. It is actually making its way into hospitals across the country because it helps against the opioid crisis, this integrated medicine. Acupuncture in particular helps to relieve pain in such fabulous ways that I think integrating a lot of this stuff to help people feel better in their bodies is good. Things to avoid. All of this stuff is in different countries, and with COVID still sort of raging, it's difficult to obtain some import items. So the more that we can grow local, the more that we can keep local, the more that we can focus on healing, staying mindful, staying present, staying all of that, and not importing a bunch of stuff to make it go, that becomes more important. The supply chain is getting a little tenuous to get different supplies across the country, across the world right now. So minimizing that is a benefit to this brand as I look at my competition. Okay, so the next one is the hot potato exercise. And I'm going to use the same four competitors that I've been using, because the more that I get to know about them, the more research that I do into them, the more that I can have a grasp on them that is strong and powerful, that I can choose a better path for my future and the brand that I'm building. So the different areas that we are rating are customer acquisition, customer retention, efficiency, employee engagement, technology, design, sales, and then other. And for other, I chose healthcare, because part of what we're building with this idea, part of all of these, except for Kinsterna, is their idea of healthcare, mindfulness, body, mind-body stuff. So this is super simple. If you really want to dive into this, if you know your competition, if you are out there looking at them, if you have experienced their services, then it's easier for you to do things like customer acquisition. What was your experience like? Was it really easy to get on board with them, to join their onboarding process, to purchase from them? The more optimally, really, I would love if I could go to each of these different resorts, each of these different properties, and experience the entire experience for myself so that I can see what it's like with their technology, with the design of the property, the design of menus, the design of the experience itself, so that I can make a proper judgment. Right now, I'm just going to go ahead and throw out these numbers based on what I know, based on what I've read through their websites, through several reviews that I double referenced, through just all sorts of different websites at this point. The more you know, the more you can kind of rank and figure some of this stuff out for yourself. And the more that you know, the more that you look at it, the better you are at choosing your own path of differentiation, particularly in the opportunity matrix. So, without further ado, I just, real quickly here, Ananda customer acquisition, 8. They're pretty good at it. They get people in the door. Customer retention, 5. I put, I'm choosing 5 as, you know, the average experience means that somebody is willing to come back again. It wasn't awful. It wasn't stupendous. It's average. Efficiency, I put a 3 because there were some other things that I read about that they could probably do a little bit better. Employee engagement, again, seems average, so I kept it a 5. There weren't any negative reviews from previous employees online. There weren't any fabulous reviews, so I can kind of consider that average. Technology, they're pretty good with technology and being out there, at least on their website and some of the things that they have listed. Design, they've always got a nice clean design on everything they're doing, so I appreciate that. That's a high number. Sales, they're pretty high sales. They're pretty focused. They draw you right into their pipeline, right into their funnel, so that you want to take the next steps. And healthcare, 7. Pritikin, I'm just going to run through these and you can kind of get the idea, right? Acquisition, 9. Retention, 9. They seem like Pritikin is huge in Maui in getting people to spread the word, to bring their corporation there, to share with others, to create experiences, and that is like high retention, really creating an experience that people want to come back and either keep improving themselves or share with others, and that is awesome. That's what you want. Efficiency, 8. They are streamlined. They know what they're doing. Part of that is their inclusive packages. It is just set, and so they just run the program, they run their process over and over again. Employee engagement, I left it at average. I didn't see any reason not to. Technology, they are up to date. They're not pushing it. They are really focused on the things that they do and not trying to shift technology a whole lot. Design, they're good. They're above average, I'd say. I'd say they're on a good track. Nothing really special, so 7. Sales, they're pretty sales heavy, so 8. Healthcare, I gave them a 10, mostly because of the evidence-based medicine, evidence-based treatments. That means a lot in terms of how to actually help people. That means there's data out there to provide showing that it's successful, and that means a lot to me, so I give them a 10. Kamalea, acquisition, 7. Good, not great. Retention, 5. Average. Efficiency, 6. Engagement, average. Technology, 10. They have some fabulous technology, and part of that has a use of technology in particular. And remember, this is the one in Thailand, so they are actually like, they're creating books, they're creating music soundtracks, they're creating videos, they're creating blogs, they're creating online courses. They are using technology to the maximum to get out there. That is fantastic. Design-wise, 9. They are doing pretty darn good. I wouldn't say it's the best out there. It is not premium, but they're nice looking. Their materials are fantastic, and their experiences are well designed, well curated, really good thinking there. Sales, 9. They push pretty hard. And healthcare, 7. Mostly because it's not true healthcare focus. It's mindfulness and body with a lot of sort of gurus helping you through stuff, which I still like that. It's good stuff. Consterna, acquisition, 7. Good. It's pretty good. Retention, average, it looks like. Efficiency, a little bit better than average. They've got a lot of their programs locked down. Employee engagement, average. Technology, 6. It's hosted in a Byzantine era mansion, so it's stone walls, stone everything. They have remodeled the inside beautifully but not everything is totally up to spec. If you're in the United States and you expect things to be really top notch, it's a little more old world, and I love that. I dig it. So that's why I gave it a 6 instead of a 5 or a 4. Again, these are your rankings, your ratings on this, because right now you're the one comparing, and this is what matters to you. If you had a whole team looking at this, giving their own ratings, that would be great, because you could average all of those scores and get a true rating of the group and what they think about your competition. Okay, 6, design. 7, not great, not awful, it's okay. Sales, not great. It's kind of a feat. You're choose your own adventure. How's that? Choose your own adventure quest. And then healthcare, not their focus. I like that they do the garden to table. Then they've got gardens and orchards, so I gave them a 3. It's not a huge focus for them, and that's okay. And then next, the second part of that exercise is to grade yourself. And you know, you're going to grade yourself better in a lot of areas, and that's okay. I don't expect you to do perfect 10s all the way down, because if you are firing on perfect 10s all the way down, you are probably a multi-millionaire with lots of people working for you. Realistically, as you're building your brand, as you're looking at the competition, there are areas that you focus on that are better than some other areas, and that's okay. You are where you are. So grade appropriately, and as you come back to examine that later and try to improve or compare it to the competition, it gives you lots of opportunity to grow, to expand, to step into the areas, or hire other people to step into the areas that are most important. So right now, I totally graded myself super high, and I know it, because this is an idea, right? It's the castle property. It's an idea, it's a concept, so the way that I'm concepting the idea, acquisition is probably an 8 compared to some of the others. I can see places where I would put information about the property, where I would advertise it, where I would market it, where I would try to create these conversations both online and offline. Retention, I really think that it's important to have people coming back to this type of property again and again, whether it's the teachers or the students or visitors, guests. So creating some kind of program that makes them come back, or some sort of, I like that one site that had, you know, you can purchase one of the properties on a house, the one in Tuscany, where you could purchase a property or become part of their club, where you can come and stay there. I love that idea. So that's something I want to like really keep a high retention number. Efficiency, I am all about SOPs and process and making sure everything is written down so that it can be repeated effortlessly, easily. So I'm giving myself an 8. Employee engagement, I'm giving myself a 5 for right now. I would really love to be a 6 or a 7, but until I actually have employees and engage with them and listen to them to figure out how I can improve their experience, I'm just going to go with an average of 5. Technology, I'm a big technology guy. Absolutely. I think that it should be sneakily hidden in the property, or put there in a way that it's not obvious, but it's available. So I'm giving myself 10, which means I am going to push for presentation technology to be super high, for information technology to be super high, for videos, for blogs, for all that kind of stuff. I'm going to push for it. Design, I used to be a graphic designer and an experience designer. These days it's branding design. I'm looking at the holistic experience, and I know that what I'm creating is not like a super high-end Japanese resort where everything is slick and smooth and seamless. I actually want a couple of bumps in it. And so I'm designing the experience of it in a way that lets someone have a couple of bumps. There's actual countryside in what I'm thinking. There's actual fields and places to get dirty and wet, and you have to walk a little bit sometimes, because those experiences create the contrast in the brain, so it recognizes the other aspects of the experience, and then all together creates an emotional bond to the experience. That's behavioral branding. When you create an emotional bond because you recognize both the highs and lows of the experience that are part of it. And sales, I'm not a big sales guy. I would prefer that most of the sales happen through word of mouth. and through simple marketing and not like really pushing it out there sort of things. So I'm giving it a 4 right now. That would probably change if I got an investor involved, right? If I got somebody in that really wanted to see this grow and to duplicate this process, this property in other locations, I would probably want to bump that up to an 8 or a 9, so we have lots of people out there calling, connecting with others who would need the service. And then healthcare, 9. Again, this entire thing for me has a strong focus on healthcare, has a strong focus on what is happening and how it's happening inside the mind, inside the body, and really helping everybody come to a magical experience that they feel transformed by. So that. Okay. Next on the list, haha, is the opportunity matrix. And the opportunity matrix is what I call a design artifact. And a design artifact is anything we can create visually that tells the story or tells others what you're thinking about the ranking, what you're thinking about the competition or your brand visually, okay? So we're going to take all of those numbers for the 4 competitors that you've worked with now, and we're going to take your numbers for Hot Potato, and we are going to put them into the appropriate marks on the opportunity matrix. Now I've went ahead and drawn out one big one here, and it's a little tricky to read. Now this is for Ananda as well as for the castle properties, so you can kind of see how this goes. Now Ananda, so sales, acquire, retention, here's all those aspects, the focus areas, 0 to 10, and here's the rankings for Ananda, 8, all the different ways around. This one's a 5, 5, 3, whatever they are, and then we connect them. Using the worksheet, guys, I didn't want to draw the whole thing on here. I'm being a little bit lazy today. I'm sorry. Use the worksheet. In fact, I'm going to show you the worksheet because the worksheet is where to do this work. That's where to do the records. And as you can see by the worksheet, there you go. It has all of the rings, 0 to 10, all of the areas around it. So you can easily create all of the shape and really honestly choose different colors for the 4 competitors and for yourself so you can easily see where you stand out. In terms of this one, we can see that Ananda has a little gap right here coming in from retention and efficiency and engagement. They've got a huge gap right there. They also on tech are pretty far off, and then they come up in design and sales. That's where their strong points are, design and sales. So the castle property, as I had given the numbers for it, comes across right about the low point of sales, about the same in acquisition, higher in retention, higher in efficiency, about the same in engagement, higher in technology, and a little bit lower in design. So what we see, and this is the whole point of a design artifact, what we see is that there is opportunities here in both retention and efficiency, as well as technology above this other property. And the more that I work with this, if I use a red pen or a blue pen, I can put the other properties on here and really start to find where is everybody else lacking, where is their opportunity. Because remember, as we're working with your brand, we're trying to create this emotional feeling in your audience, something that they align with and want to work with you. And to do that, we're utilizing the concept of branding, where we really are taking behavioral branding and we're showing them a contrast. Here's what we want to create, and it's different from everybody else. Branding is really the idea of ongoing differentiation, right? We're choosing things specifically to be different than the competitors so that we stand out and create our own iconic neurological network that chimes in for your brand. And because that network is strong and powerful, your customers, your audience, really become drawn to it. So fill out the opportunity matrix. That'll give you a great opportunity to see visually a visual artifact to what your opportunities are, right? And if you can design something in retention or efficiency or technology, if you can design part of the experience that stands out, that is dynamic, that is different than somebody else, then that's opportunity, because you designing that is you creating an even greater push, an even greater, like, if the evidence is, if all the evidence that shows that you guys are about here in that chart, and you say, okay, well, what if I do something more and something more? You see, it just pushes you up and above, and that's what customers love, right? So the last exercise is called Assess Your Business Model, and I'm just going to go ahead and read it right from the book here. And the exercise itself is really to go over your business model. And this is brought to you by Business Model Generation, the book Business Model Generation. Business Model Generation, I really recommend this book. It is about thinking in terms of design, in terms of what is everybody else doing, what can we do? Is this the only solution for revenue? Is this the only solution for our customers? What else can we do? And it's about creating these opportunities, because with technology and apps and websites and all this other stuff today, there's so many avenues for how we can pull things together. And this book is a playground of examination and creative play, helping you think of new ways to create business models in your brand, in your business. Fantastic. So in this exercise, I only asked you to do one for you, but I went ahead and printed out one for each of those 4 competitors as well. Ideally, what I would love to do is print out one for each of the 26 competitors that I found online. Once I do a little bit more research into what they're doing, into how they're conducting their business, because at that point, I can really see if there's an opportunity in terms of the business model to engage something new, different, unique, and then build an experience around that. So just to give you a quick run through about what this sounds like. Business model. So business models don't look at the same stuff as brands. Business models are really trying to see, you know, where can they save money, where can they create money, where can they keep customers, where can they change things up. So the first one here is switching costs. And switching costs means nothing holds my customers back from leaving me, or my customers are locked in for several years. Those are the 2 main areas that we look at in terms of switching cost. And what you want to do is just generally, where do you think you fall in the middle of that? And I for the castle properties, I'm looking at probably around 3 or 4 in terms of the switching cost. Because customers can leave a resort, they can leave a spa, but when we're providing some sort of healthcare, some sort of specialized physicians, that is actually really unique and keeps people coming back, because that's an experience that cannot be duplicated elsewhere. But then again, I also don't like locking people in for several years, unless I followed that Tuscany place and they become like, I don't know, a club to actually own part of the micro homes. I think that would be cool too. So maybe there's an opportunity there. Recurring revenues. It starts with either 100% of my sales are transactional, to 100% of my sales leads to automatically recurring revenues. So that would be like subscriptions. That would be, subscriptions. See, I didn't really think about that, because I could actually see a subscription for herbs, Chinese herbs in particular, being part of that. What if somebody needed to have those and needed to have them like once a month or once every couple of weeks, or even just, 1 week? 1 week would be one time occurring. If it was an ongoing thing, it would be much greater. That actually provides opportunity for subscriptions. What else? Earnings versus spending. At 0, we have I incur 100% of my costs of goods before earning revenues. That is pretty much the standard model, right? Businesses incur those costs, and then they have to sell it off, unless it's unless they're just holding it for somebody else and selling it through there. And the other one is I earn 100% of my revenues before incurring cost of goods and services sold. And there are plenty of, again, apps, the online marketplace, all of that has sort of shifted, because I look at that number 10 and I think of like Amazon sellers who don't really run a store. They sort of use other people's products and go ahead and create their own brand around those items. The next one, game-changing cost structure. At 0, we have my cost structure is at least 30% higher than my competitors. That's not good or bad. That's just knowing where you stand, right? And at 10, my cost structure is at least 30% lower than my competitors. If you're lower than the competitors, then you might be actually fighting a commodity market. You might not be branded enough to be worthwhile of a premium cost. And that shows you might need to invest a little bit more in the marketing of the brand to be able to charge more, honestly. The next one, others who do the work. At 0, there's I incur the costs for all the value created in my business model. On the other side, all the value created in my business model is created for free by external parties. These days, if you look at YouTube benefits because everybody else creates content and puts it on the platform. Versus, for example, a doctor who has to go in and be a doctor for people there, and it's their time, their energy, we pay for the doctor, right? So those are the two different ideas, the two different ends of that one. Scalability. Growing my business model requires substantial resources and effort. And on the opposite side of that, my business model has virtually no limits to growth. If you're working on a brand that is online, it is much easier to see that no limits to growth because there's lots of opportunity there. If you're trying to do something physical, it's harder for growth because you have to invest to grow in this physical material world. If you need more office space, if you need more desks, if you need more computers, if you need more employees, all of that costs money. So scalability is really the balance of how you juggle all of that. And the last one is protection from competition. At 0, we have my business model has no moats and I'm vulnerable to competition. On the other side of that, my business model provides substantial moats that are hard to overcome. So really the moats are points of differentiation. They are points that competitors will try to copy, will try to be like, that you can create. You can create moats purposely, choosing them, designing your business in a way that makes it harder for others to compete with you. For me, when I'm looking at this castle properties, like concentrating on Chinese medicine, other competitors can absolutely do that. Concentrating on this whole holistic approach, mind, body, Chinese medicine, Tai Chi, the property, the garden, the castle is the main type of property that has meeting facilities as well as a restaurant, and then these micro homes. What I'm doing with all of these additional thoughts is creating moats. Somebody can absolutely come in and copy that business model, but the more that I create an experience that is unique around it, the more that other people have to jump through hoops to get to the same concept, the same point, that for me becomes intrinsic as part of the brand that gets out there for this. So, and then I've got one for Ananda, I've got one for Pritikin, I've got one for Kamalea, and I've got one for Kinsterna. And I've kind of just done a rough analysis based on the research that I've done in all those. So, this is the fastest run through of a competitive analysis that I could possibly do at this time. I would say actually that if you have opportunity, if you're doing all of this research, if you are choosing just a few, and I would say 4 is the minimum amount of competitors that you want to find, generally because the first 1 or 2 in a field are the strongest and they're the hardest to beat, and then 3 or 4 generally differentiate and go a different direction. So you have to choose this playing field really well. If you do a SWOT analysis for each one of those, as well as for yourself, and that is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. If you look at each of those and write down what are their strengths, we did some of that in the view from an airplane. Weaknesses, we did some of that in view from an airplane. Opportunities, did some of that in view from an airplane. And threats, I did a little bit of that in terms of global and local trends to either copy or stay away from. If you do a SWOT analysis with each one of them, add them to the brand book, so you just get this bigger picture of what you're doing and where you're going. Because really, flip it back down, we're just trying to make a map. This is what strategy is. Strategy is the map. And for what we're doing, brand strategy leads to marketing, sales, internal and external culture, values, right? What else? We've covered so much in terms of this program, so much in terms of what we're building, what we're doing. It's just amazing. And the more that we understand the idea of brand, the more we understand that we are creating a relationship, something that actually it's a neurological frequency. It's parts of the brain that vibrate when they connect. Each of the neurons connect, that create a feeling that others want to engage with. So that's the brand. That's what we're creating. And when we do that, we understand what others need. We understand how to reach out with them, how to communicate with them, how to connect with them over the bridge of culture, over the bridge of language, so that we can share our brand, whatever it is you're building, with them. And brand strategy is this bridge. I know some people wrote to me and said, why do I have to do these exercises? I really want to focus on my stuff. Why do I have to look at all the competition? And hopefully this video explains some of that and gets down into the nitty gritty a little bit more. But really, it's so that you can build what you want. It's so that you can build it knowing that what you're doing is either going to conflict with a competitor or completely move around them into a field that is all yours. And really, that's the dream opportunity. When you move into a place that is all yours, the opportunity is wide open and you can take advantage of it for your business. And that's what we want. We are trying to create as many opportunities for you that are wide open so that you essentially, in all reality, are designing exactly how to stand out, how to be dynamic, and how to land in the hearts of your customers so that they want to stay with you forever, right? That's what we all want. And in the process of that, you move towards that future that we set in the foundation. You move effortlessly forward into that realm, accomplishing your goals, taking the steps, big and small, to build exactly what you want to build, because we have all of this foundation, we have all of this work, we understand the competition. So, to wrap it all up, next week we are going over brand strategy. We are actually finishing off all of the brand attributes. We are going to be talking about archetypes again. We're going to revisit that exercise. We are going to be taking all of that information and combining it into a solid, straightforward brand strategy that will give you direction for your marketing, that will give you direction for your values, direction for your archetypes, sales, communication, the next steps that you take for efficiency in your business. This is powerful stuff, because next week is when all of it comes together and we can start looking at the actual thing that we've built together. I am super excited. And I just want to say, if this has worked for you, if you like this entire process, if you want to work with me personally, or dig down to another project, another brand, another idea, something creative, and utilize the same process for yourself, an application, you can find an application at thinktankcreative.net. Just click on that and we will chat over a Zoom talk for about a half an hour. Make sure that it's the right process for your particular brand, your project, whether that's your business, your a product of some kind, the service that you're working on, whatever it is, we can make sure that this is right for you, because I absolutely want to make sure it's right for you. And if it is, we can actually take the next step, which is the hypnotherapy, which takes all of this stuff that we've been working with, all of the ideas, all of the future thoughts, all of this. It's just awesome. And we can wrap it up and put it in a way that your subconscious says, I absolutely want to build this. I absolutely want to take effortless steps every single day without waking the conscious mind, without waking anything else within us. So the subconscious actually keeps us moving, motivated, targeted, and dynamically drawn right towards that goal. That's the awesome part. I can't wait for that. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. I love you. I hope you're getting a ton out of this. I am really excited for next week. I'm excited for the remainder of these exercises. And I will see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.